Hi, Lance, sir. How you doing?
Good, good, Hollis. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Hey, you sound great. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute your mic, finish your intro, and then we'll get started. Okay?
Sounds good, my man.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us every week. We have conversations with authors and small business owners. We have exciting lineup of guests who will take us on a literary journey like no other. Join us as we delve into the world of authors and small business owners from diverse backgrounds and cultures, each bringing their own unique perspective and voice to the table. From thrilling memoirs to captivating fiction and business startups, our guests will share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, offering us a glimpse into the rich tapestry of human experience. Immerse yourself in the magic of words and discovery as we explore the global literary landscape together. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up by the fire, and join us on this adventure of a lifetime. The Hollis Chapman Show is your ticket to a world of imagination, inspiration, and enlightenment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with some of the most talented and compelling voices in literature today. Tune in and let the journey begin. Are you suffering?
Hello, and welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. I am Hollis. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you had a great week. We're very excited to end our week with a great, exciting guest. He's very passionate about what he does. He's going to talk about his latest book that has a lot of passion. Our guest brought up on stories and movies of the Old West. Grew up with a passion to learn all he could about Native American history in the United States. That's big. And we're in Arizona, so that's a big part of Arizona, Native Americans. Without further ado, let's welcome to our show a special guest, Lance J. Durrell. All righty, sir. How you doing?
Hey, Hollis, I'm doing great today. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Like I said, we're in Arizona, and Native America is a big part of our state. So we look forward to the conversation. Looking forward to your insight. So tell us more about yourself in your newest book, sir.
So, as you said, I was just brought up, very fortunate to be brought up around my maternal grandparents. They instilled a sense of reading and exploring. And so I also had two uncles, my mother's two brothers, who were what you might call rock hounds or rock sleuths. And we had a farm back in Northwest Missouri. And so we spent a lot of time traipsing the river, looking for arrowheads, looking
Mm.
for Native American artifacts. And one of my uncles was actually an archaeological technician. So my brothers and I were brought up on these stories of the Old West, but we also learned who the Native American people were that had come through Missouri, Northwest Missouri, and on up the Missouri River. So I guess you would say from a young age, I was just constantly catching pieces of this history of who the Native American people were. It fueled my interest. And then luckily, I had parents and grandparents that said, hey, let's go to the library. And so they instilled this sense of research, read more, and follow your passions. So I was very fortunate.
You make me think, because we all grew up with, if you're older, you all grew up with the old cowboy western movies and stuff like that. Is there a movie that maybe kind of reflects in a positive light on Native Americans, or are they all kind of crazy? Is there something you can think about?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, so I'm 54 now, so my coming of age is the 70s and 80s, and you always had the late shows with John Duke Wayne, of course,
Yeah.
but the Searchers stands out, but that's a dark movie. The book's even darker if you read the book. That so there's that aspect of it. But when you think about the native people being portrayed in a positive light, it's hard to go back into that memory bank and find something for sure.
Yeah, yeah, well said. Okay, can you provide our listeners with an overview of the legend of the Star People and its significance in Native American Nation oral history? So, kind of explain that first, the legend of Star People, because I never really heard of that. So, I'm just as naive. So, kind of explain that and kind of lead us to that conversation.
Sure. So let me give some background here quickly. So w- years and years ago, I had always been ever since I was a youngster. We're talking the late '70s. I had always been fascinated at what happened at the Battle of the Little Bighorn.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, I'm going to a small town library. Luckily, there was a college in my hometown, so I was able to read and read as much as I could. And then as you get older, of course, you continued on your journey. And then when the internet comes along, more information is readily accessible. Whether it's all accurate, you take a leap of faith, right? But Amazon comes along, years and years ago, and you can buy books at your fingertips, so that expedites things. So I was constantly studying the history of the Little Bighorn, trying to grasp as best I could what really happened. And then, of course, then I was always looking at oral history from Native American people. And so then I was fortunate enough to be able to start traveling out west, had decent jobs, had decent income, so I could, get away and travel. And so I was going around the battlefield quite a bit up in Montana. Luckily for myself, I got introduced to four Northern Cheyenne elders. Two are still with us to this day. And so my whole world changed because I now had four men who were my guideposts, so to speak, and they introduced me to more Cheyenne people. And consequently, then I was able to learn about protocol and procedures and the right way to visit with folks about asking for information. Okay, so that's a little bit of the background. At the same time, I was meeting many, many Lakota people and Dakota people in South Dakota. Okay, and so I'm trying to understand what happened at the Little Bighorn, Hollis, and it's taken
Yeah.
up all my time. Working a full-time job, married, and my wife and I, bless, we have a small animal orphanage here, and I say that tongue in cheek. But
Mhm.
uh, so so I had not even thought anything about the history of the people other than migrations. And what I had found in the research was at the Little Bighorn, it's always talked about it's strictly a Lakota who are known as the Sioux,
Mm,
a few Cheyennes, and just a handful of Arapaho that inflicted the greatest military defeat on the United States Army up to
mm,
that point in 1876. Okay. So it's one of history's greatest mysteries. What happened to George Custer and his five elite companies of United States Cavalry, 210 men who died on a hillside in Montana, right? So as I continue to go down my journey, was visiting with hundreds of Native people, Native American people, as well as First Nations of Canada. I started to get a glimpse and go into the world of Native American history, spirituality, and then, of course, as you were saying, the Star people came into my purview. But let me also say this: Native American people will make it explicitly known to you that the Star people we should are known as their relatives.
okay.
So they're not going to call them Star people; they are their relatives, Hollis.
Oh,
So right there should cause us to pause for concern, pump the brakes, and say, "Wait a minute, okay? Can you share more?" Maybe they will. Sometimes they will. Sometimes they won't. But again, if you've paid your dues and you've been out amongst the people and been around them, as I had for a number of years, I started to understand this a lot more. And so I'm going to trans back to the Little Bighorn real quick. Hollis, what happened was Donovan Taylor, a Northern Cheyenne man, he and I set out on a journey to try to record what was left of oral history. And we started about 10 years ago to the Little Bighorn, okay? And what we had found was that there were more tribes there than the historical record
yeah.
tells us. And these tribes are predominantly Algonquin. Now, Algonquins are said to migrate across the continent from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. But if you understand research and you pay attention to what people tell you, you understand that's not true. They migrated west to east and then back and forth. Okay. Now,
Oh,
the reason I'm telling you this is these Algonquins, besides the Cheyennes, there are Arapaho, but there are many more Arapaho than just five. There's Grovant, Blackfoot, Cree, and Ojibwa. And so once I was able to understand the facts, Donovan and I then kept researching and researching the Star people and the history of who